Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Roar Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Laura Sturm.
Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast. I am one of your hosts, Laura Sturm.
And I'm Josh Rohr. Welcome to episode 83. So I figured we'd start with a quick Arnold rundown of how everybody did. We just got back from the Arnold. It was good. It was really good. We had 9 lifters compete. I made a social media graphic today with some of the stats, but we had 9 lifters compete. We had 9 medals that we got from there. We had, let's see. I actually made the graphic wrong. I also realized, but I put that we had 17 successful American record attempts out of 22, but we actually had 18 out of 23. I forgot about one. So that was super awesome. But just running down the list real quick. Gretchen, she went 0 for 3 in the bench, so bombed out, but locked out an American record 3 times, and her goal was just to go in and try to hit it. And there's just downward motion on all 3. So there's one, I think her 3rd attempt or maybe her 2nd, I thought was pretty good. Went to the jury and they're like, nah, we're not going to return it. But that's I know it kind of sucks, but I think that it was still a good experience for her, and I think it's gonna, kind of help, kind of motivate her a little bit to work on those little details, So anyway,
or burn her shirts,
or burn her shirts, one of the two. Yeah, I think Amy mentioned something like that too at one point this weekend, but no. Anyway. So then in session 2 on Friday, Alicia Webb and Joe House lifted, and Lee went 9 for 9, hit all meet PRs, and the only attempt for her that was not an American record was her opening deadlift. But she ended up breaking all 4 American records for the M2s, and she actually broke the M1 squat and total record. So as an M2B lifter. So that was pretty crazy. And here's the bigger kicker. She came in 2nd.
Wow.
Yeah. So this means
it's not by weight class.
It's done by overall dots because it's part of the Pro Series now.
Right.
So she's competing against all other M2s. But so she had, so I looked this up, the all-time for USA Powerlifting dot scores. I think Lee is 3rd, and the girl that beat her is 2nd all time. The only one that's above them is Susie Hartwig Gary from back in like 2017 or 2018 or something like that. But basically, so Patricia Johnson was the lifter we were going head to head with, and she had to basically hit like it was a 21.5 kilo total PR for her to beat Lee by 0.5 dots.
Wow.
So it was, she had to have, and I knew about this lady, and I just figured she'd slip up a little bit somewhere if we just made all of our lifts, and she did not. So she pulled a big 241.5 American record deadlift at the end to beat us by 0.5 dots. So
wow,
hats off to her. Like, she brought it, and we got 2nd. So
wow.
that's and that's the interesting thing too. Like, Lee's been to Worlds multiple times, has won best lifter at Worlds multiple times, and then here we are as an M2 to have competition like this in the M2s is crazy. And to think about it, that she also broke the M1 total record as an M2 is just pretty crazy.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Wow.
But it was a really awesome meet. She did really good. I think she had some left in her squat and bench specifically. And if we had it to do over again, yeah, I would have given her a little bit more in squat and bench. And tried to, pull out the win there. But didn't think that Patricia was going to quite have the day she did. But credit to her, she did. So that's what happened.
Yeah.
And then Joe House, he lifted in that session as well. He got first place in the M4s, so he won a check for $250. He went 9 for 9. He had an American record bench press on his third attempt, and then he also had an American record deadlift on his third attempt. And the crazy part was him and another lifter both had turned in the same American record attempts for their third attempt. And the other guy got it. So by rule, we had to go up another 0.5 kilos. And so we went up and broke it again. So, the other guy had it for about 35 seconds. But I guess the silver lining there is he was an M4B. So even though Joe broke the M4A record, he's still going to get credit. The other guy with the M4B. So,
right.
So everybody got something there.
Right. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good. So session 3 on Friday, Stacy Metcalf, she got third in the M2s. She went 9 for 9, tied her PR squat, hit a 2.5 kilo PR bench and a 2.5 kilo PR deadlift for a 5 kilo PR total.
Nice.
Katie Dodge got first in the M1s, so she got a check also. She actually stood up with the American record squat, but it got turned down 2-1. So that I think, and it was strong too. Like it's kind of weird because she actually missed her second attempt, and looking at the scoreboard, I'm like, well, we should have the meet locked up as long as she gets a bench and a deadlift. So we went up anyway. Like she got to the bottom of her second and just couldn't move. So I got a little angry with her and went up anyway and said, don't go get this. She went down and came up strong and was just a little bit high. So unfortunately it didn't count, but
Nice.
but yeah, it was good day overall. Amy Pancake, she hit an American record squat on her third attempt and also won the M2s. So she got a check as well. Had a pretty good day. Chris Elmore, he had a little bit of an off day. His second and third squat got called for depth. So he finished third overall. We took a big swing on his third attempt deadlift to try to move into second. And it was something that was pretty much out of our range, but it wasn't impossible. So I put it on, but it didn't go. So anyway, but he definitely stood up strong with both of his squats, just a little bit high on depth. James Vang, he lifted in the Grand Prix. He had a hell of a day. He went 8 for 9, only missing his third pull, and his third pull was let's see, what was it, 277.5, I think, which would break Doc's American record deadlift. And he was trying to, with that deadlift, move ahead of Dan Austin in the all-time rankings for the 148 weight class total. So he's right there, like chasing history basically right now in the 148 class. So he's closing in. Pretty crazy. Allison Garden lifted on Sunday. She went she went 6 for 9. She missed her third attempt squat and third deadlift and missed her opening bench. So no, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. She missed her third bench and deadlift, missed her opening squat on depth. So she had a pretty solid day. Hit a PR deadlift and I believe a PR total as well. And then the squat challenge on Sunday, something you're all too familiar with. Amy Pancake lifted again, and she got 6 reps. She technically did 9, but they only counted 6 because she didn't get quite low enough on a few of them. So she ended up winning the women's overall with 6 reps. So she brought home a second check. So
nice.
She's got 2 giant checks somewhere at home now.
Literally giant checks. So cool.
Yeah.
Well, and I watched the video and she really grinded the last couple out. So that's That's nice because that kind of tells you that
Yeah.
now that she's felt that and had to really grind one out like that. Oh
Yeah.
man, because your legs and your lungs are burning. And that was sweet to see.
Yep.
Very nice.
Very nice.
I like it.
All right. Where are we at? Are we on movies?
We're on movie soundtracks.
All right.
So the best movie soundtracks ever. And I guess I need to click on this little link that you gave me to go over to that.
So I'll start. So we're on number 4 this week. Amber Riley's number 4 is Requiem for a Dream, if I can talk. And her argument for it is that the bass track for every 2000s movie ever, the chord progression is used in tons of movies after this one came out. So I don't know that movie, but I guess I probably know the soundtrack or the chord progression she's talking about because it sounds like it's pretty popular. I don't know.
I got nothing. All right. So Dawn Dotson had The Bodyguard. She says, Whitney Houston, enough said.
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, in my research, I was looking at soundtracks and I did notice that this is the number 1 top selling by far soundtrack of all time.
Is it really?
It is.
Wow. That's crazy. Justin Little had Gladiator. Epic Hans Zimmer scores to enthrall the viewer into the film, draws you to the edge of your seat. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen Gladiator. I'm trying to remember the music, but seems like I can't argue that.
Yeah, I just remember Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
Amy Hutchinson had Romeo and Juliet. I'm not familiar with that one either. It just screams teen angst, she says. And who doesn't want to be put in that mood again? Oh, me. I don't. Ooh, no.
It's funny.
Nice.
All right. Stacy Metcalf had Friday. Great movie and is a collection of many 90s hip hop artists / actors were also artists on this soundtrack. So
good find. That's
a good find. That wouldn't be one that would stand out to me, I guess, but that's a good find.
Yeah. Well, and Amy Pancake had Almost Famous, which I was like, oh man, that's a really good one. The Who, Elton John, and David Bowie all in one album. And you know, everyone knows that scene from Almost Famous where they're singing Tiny Dancer. And yeah. I just get a lump in my throat. I just love that movie.
Yeah.
Good find.
I'm going to yawn on the podcast here.
Keeping you awake.
Siraj Saeed says Interstellar, amazing score. I watched that movie and I don't remember anything about the movie soundtrack. So that's usually one thing that like mine reminds me or like makes me reminisce about the movie is the soundtrack. And I don't know. I might have to argue that one. I've only seen it once. It's a fairly new movie. Matthew McConaughey. No. It's either Matthew McConaughey or what's the other dude? Matt Damon. I can't remember which one of them. I think it's Matthew McConaughey was in that one.
Couldn't tell you. All right.
Yeah. Either one, whichever guy it was. I don't remember I would remember which guy it was if the soundtrack was good.
Of course you would. Yes. Chris Peterson had Forrest Gump, which almost made my list as well. I looked at that. So he was saying this movie, while being a top 10 of all time movie, has a wonderful blend of music that showcases the unique story of Forrest. Yeah. And I do remember that soundtrack, and it has a lot of like Creedence and 60s and going into the 70s, like good stuff in that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a great one. Cameron Barlow says Black Panther. No explanation, just Black Panther. I also don't remember the soundtrack of that too much, so I'm not sure.
I can't either. 0. He was dropping the mic. It's like, that's it. Black Panther. Yeah. Jim Battenfield had Batman Forever. And he said the soundtrack is actually 10 times better than the movie. I got nothing. I can't remember that soundtrack whatsoever.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
all the
can't
Batman
remember.
movies kind of blend too. Like so many, and now there's a new one.
Yeah, they're coming out with. They're doing a lot of Batmans, which I love. I love all the Batmans so far, so I'm not going to argue with it. Josh Rohr has Back to the Future. Huey Lewis.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say
And
there.
classic 80s.
Yeah, classic 80s Huey Lewis.
I approve.
Yeah, thank you.
Daria had A Star is Born. And she said, my only argument is it's Lady Gaga. She's the most talented, multi-dimensional musician of our time. Funny, when she said A Star is Born, I wasn't thinking of the Lady Gaga, like the version. Yeah, I was thinking of the older movie. But
Gotcha.
hey, it's Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga. And what's yours?
So Laura Sturm, that's me. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 1. You got to clarify
Yeah.
Volume 1.
Yes,
And
agreed.
this is I think my only soundtrack that made it out of the 80s. Even though technically a lot of the music from the movies is more from 70s.
Yeah.
But great album.
Yeah.
Can we just say Ooga Chaka?
Ooh, gotcha.
I mean, everyone knows that song. It's a
Hooked
great song.
on a feeling.
Exactly. I mean, it's like my karaoke song. If I was ever going to do karaoke, that would be that song.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can see it.
It's a great album.
Yeah. Agreed.
Enough said.
Enough said.
Enough said. Now we can move back to the other things that we're going to talk about. If I could find that document, just keep going.
Well, all right. So we'll move on to the powerlifting situation.
All right, powerlifting situation. Your second squat gets turned down 2-1. You want to go to the jury to protest the lift, but you also know that you only have 60 seconds to turn in your next attempt. The jury table is in the opposite direction of the scoring table. And if you go to the jury, you'll likely miss that 60-second window. Oh, crap. What do you do?
Yeah, I think this situation came up at the Arnold. And I think in general, 9 times out of 10, if you miss, like the smart play is to repeat. And by rule, if you don't go to the score table within 60 seconds, they automatically repeat the number you missed. Or if the lift was good, then you automatically move you up 2.5. So if my plan is to repeat anyway, if it's a miss, then I don't even have to worry about going to the score table. Just go straight to the jury. And if you don't get there in time, then you turn in the same number. And that's what you're planning to do anyway. Now, if you're going to gamble and you want to go up after a miss, then you do have to get there within that 60 seconds. So, you can do, one of two things. You can have, if you have somebody helping you, like an assistant or something like that, you can send them to the score table with the number. Or what I did, this actually happened to us with Chris. We went to protest it, but I always keep a couple extra score attempt slips in my pocket, and I have, basically have it filled out ready to go. So I just wrote the number down real quick and handed it to somebody to turn in as I went to the jury. So it was when I say handed it to somebody that was helping us, it wasn't a random person.
Hey, you guy in the crowd.
Yeah, but even so, like having that ready like that, I would have had time to run to drop it off at the score table real quick and then go to the jury right away, because you really want to get to the jury as quick as you can while it's fresh in their mind, because the further away you get from that, the less likely they are to overturn it, because they're just going to forget what they saw, especially if another lifter is on their way out or lifting. They're now paying attention to that. So so I think it's just having things ready and being prepared for any situations that could come up like that. I think is pretty much the answer there. But if it was where you literally had to choose one over the other, then I would probably go to the jury and go conservative and repeat the missed attempt. if you need to go, if for sure you have to go up for whatever reason, then, the missed second attempt probably isn't that important anyway. If you're going up for a third, if you're going up for your third, that means you're pretty confident you're going to make a third. Otherwise you're just being an idiot. That's my thought there.
So don't be an idiot. Go to the jury table.
Yeah.
I would agree. But I love these powerlifting situations because they seem so oddly specific, but yet, so it always does make me wonder, is this something that just happened? So I like hearing the story of how, yes, this actually happened.
Yeah. So this one did actually, just
Little
happen too.
nuances.
Yeah. And it happened to multiple people at the meet. And there's been some comments, if you look at in the Instagram comments, where people are, asking, this happened, what should I have done? And, nobody can answer that for you. I mean, it's just, these are the rules of how it works, and, the nuances. So like if you're repeating the same weight anyway, then going to the score table doesn't matter.
Right.
But some people don't know that rule. So they think if they don't go, they don't get a third attempt, and that's not how it works.
Right. So another little rule nuance to be familiar with.
Yep.
For sure.
And one of the questions that was asked too about it was, let's say you turned in the same weight. Let's say you actually went to the score table, turned in the same weight, and then they overturn it. Do you get to turn in another third attempt? And the answer is yes, because that obviously changes the whole scenario.
Right.
Anyway.
That's interesting.
Well, and because by rule, you can't, if you turn in the same weight and now that weight was good, like you can't attempt a weight you've already successfully completed. Like,
right.
So,
and why would you?
Yeah. Right. So
it's not that much fun.
Yep.
Oh,
true.
Good to know.
Yep.
Cool. Well, that's all we have for today. I don't know what time of day it is.
No, I'm tired. I'm still dragging from the Arnold, man. Like I'm really dragging.
Well, I mean, that's a whole long weekend of just, coaching and yelling and being all hyped up on Mountain Dew.
Yeah. I was hyped up on some caffeine. I even bummed a few ammonia caps from a few people.
Just for the warm-ups.
Yeah, no, I used them to get out of bed the next morning.
Oh my gosh, really?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Like, you're hardcore, man.
No. It crossed my mind, but I did not. So anyway.
Nice.
All right.
Well, go do an ammonia cap that you borrowed, and we'll talk to you all next week. What are the extra little things that you want to tell people? Follow us.
Oh yeah, follow us on Instagram at PL Ballads Podcast. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, shoot us an email, plballadspodcast@gmail.com. And I think that is going to do it. I guess a little self-plug here. If you are not aware, we do have a training app you can subscribe to. So if you're looking for a budget-friendly way of getting quality programming, that would be a good avenue to look into. You can find the link on our website, teamroar.com. Also in our Instagram highlights, you can check that out. And we are also, if you're interested in customized coaching, Daria, who was on with us last week, is our newest coach, and she is actively taking clients right now. So if you want to jump on board with that before she gets booked up, now would be the time to do that. So you can also find information about that at teamroar.com, and also link in our Instagram bio. So that should be all the little extras. Let's get out of here. Later.
All right. Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.